What I'm going to talk to you about today is the work that we've been doing at Grant Thornton over the last couple of years and creating that shift towards becoming a purpose-led organisation and what that has meant for us in the recruitment team at Grant Thornton. To give you some context, we hire about 450 trainees each year across 4 key programmes, all the way through from work experience and school leavers through to our grads. We've got a focus on candidate experience, social mobility and inclusion, and really bringing our authentic self to the candidate market. Some of the things that I'm going to talk to you about today, I absolutely can't take any of the credit for. David and Jamie, who's here today, and the team have kind of delivered this over the last 6 or 7 months and have done some really great work to kind of help our recruitment strategy catch up with our firm's vision for what the future looks like. So, what is our purpose? So at Grant Thornton, we've set our purpose to shape a vibrant economy for the UK. It's the thing that guides everything that we do, the organisations that we choose to work with, the work that we do with them, how we act as a business. And these final 4 words are something that I've added onto the end and really important for us in the recruitment team, ultimately who we hire. We know that if we want to change the way business operates in the UK and make a real impact on the economy at large, hiring the trainees that we hired 5 or 10 years ago is not going to achieve that. We need to rethink all of our strategy, all of our touch points to make sure that the trainees of the future are future fit and ready to drive Grant Thornton into the next stage of its evolution. What am I going to talk about today? What we're doing differently, how we're challenging the status quo, how we're taking this bold message to the student market and really connecting with what we think the students are looking for at the moment. Creating a signal above the noise, how we're kind of differentiating ourselves with students on campus in schools through the conversations and touch points that we have. We'll go through every stage of the candidate journey to let you know what we did differently and how we've tweaked that to make sure that the trainees that we're hiring are really future fit for Grant Thornton, and some mid-season results, how it's going 6-7 months into our recruitment season and some of the things that we're noticing so far. So what does shaping a vibrant economy actually mean? So 2 years ago at Grant Thornton, we welcomed a new CEO, Sasha Romanovic. And Sasha came in with a real bold vision of what the Grant Thornton of the future would look like and the kinds of things that we would be doing as an organisation. That was all built around the purpose of shaping a vibrant economy for the UK. As an organisation, we believe that business can do better. Business can be a force for good in society. Business can drive fairness and equality through the work that we do with our clients. And we believe that we've got a real part to play in terms of convening like-minded people from public, private and third sectors to come together around some real knotty and meaty issues that are affecting society at the moment to really help make the UK economy more vibrant, but ultimately create an economy where nobody is left behind in the UK. Some of the work that we're doing around this is we're holding regional inquiries. So we've got an example in the top right here. This is from our Sheffield Live Lab. So we brought together people from the Sheffield market, from all different sectors and walks of life, to come together to kind of come up with ideas around how Sheffield can be the dynamic innovation hub of the north of England. We're about to kick off some work in May around Vibrant Capital, and what that is built around is how can London, in a post-Brexit world, be a vibrant place through which business is done, and at the same time, how can everybody who's involved in that kind of thrive as a result of those opportunities. What we've got in the bottom left here are some of our faces of a vibrant economy. So each year we identify 100 individuals from like-minded, purpose-driven businesses who are doing similar things in the market to create that real shift. They're wanting business to do better as well, and we're bringing those people together to really kind of galvanise thought and creative thinking around certain knotty issues. And if anybody wants to watch the 15-minute TED Talk at any point, we've got Sasha, who did a TED Talk about 1.5 years ago, talking about our vision for the future of the UK economy. And we know it's not only the way that we want to do business that is changing, but we know that the student market is changing as well. Young people are demanding more meaning in what they do on a day-to-day basis. They want to work for an organisation who have a purpose, who stand for something, and who are driving positive change in the wider market. I loved this from the back end of last year, youthquake being named as the Oxford Dictionary's Word of 2017, a significant cultural, political or social change arising from the actions or influences of young people. And again, this really resonated with me because we know that what we're trying to do as an organisation is bold, it's aspirational, it's not going to be achieved overnight, but we want to tap into the real feeling that there is in the student body at the moment of people who are looking for purpose, who are looking for meaning in the work that they do, to come to Grant Thornton and help us achieve that. And that's a really important thing that we talk about on campus. We absolutely do not have all the answers. This is not a finished article. We are not truly purpose-driven as yet. There's work to still be done. And we know that when we hire 450 trainees each year, that's about 10% of our overall headcount. We've got a real opportunity to create that cultural change internally to drive the change that we're looking for in the wider market. So we worked with our colleagues in the employer brand team who sit within marketing, brand and comms to really figure out, okay, if we are now this purpose-driven organisation who are wanting to shape a vibrant economy for the UK, what does that mean in terms of the messages and the stories that we tell externally? And how can we get young people and students excited about this proposition so that they can see that there is a real difference between the other accountancy firms and Grant Thornton? And what we did was we kind of built this matrix. We started with all the kind of the component elements of our job offering, what makes us different, and we kind of boiled it up until we had a headline message that we could take to the whole talent market actually. So shape more than just your career is our message to market, and this is something that we're taking to trainee, experienced hire and the partner and director market as well. And the reason that we went for this was we think it kind of puts across real confidence that we have in our offering. So the more than just your career, it's kind of a given that you come to Grant Thornton, you work with great clients, you do interesting work, we've got a real focus on your personal and professional development, and there's more, which is the shape more than piece. So this is reflecting, kind of talking to the purpose of shaping a vibrant economy. We kind of connected those two messages as something that we could kind of take out to the talent market. I'll quickly read you the boilerplate copy that we have for the trainee space, and I'll read it from here because it's a little bit small on that screen. So, at Grant Thornton, we think differently about everything that we do. Join us and do the same. Your ideas will be implemented, your opinions heard, your contributions valued, not just by your colleagues, but by coveted clients as well. Come and share in our bold and ambitious vision of shaping a vibrant economy for the UK and beyond. We're looking for independent thinkers to drive changes that are felt beyond our own organisation. So bring your passion, ambition, and and ideas, and together let's make it happen. We purposely wanted to talk to this as though it was kind of a movement, something completely different, something that the larger organisations aren't doing. We're purposeful, we think business can do better, and we think we can be a force for good in society. And we want people who know that right from the start. Here's some of the visuals that we took out onto campus this year to really translate that to the student market. We've got our advert on the on the right-hand side, our campus banner, and a case study of Pete, who's one of our social media champions as well. And here it gave us a real opportunity to tell some stories about some of our really great trainees. Yes, about the great things that they have career-wise at Grant Thornton, but also some of the things that they're doing, the work that they're doing with clients to shape a vibrant economy. So again, it's not just about what we give them and the kind of the almost hygiene factors now that students expect a large organisation to give them a fair salary and reward, good professional development, a great people manager, all those things that are kind of a given. What are they doing that they can do at Grant Thornton that they wouldn't be able to do somewhere else? And what's that meant for the various stages on our candidate journey? So I've spoken about the pre-application stage, the message that we're taking out to market. David in my team, who's no longer in the team at the moment, he's moved to Australia, the lucky thing. But about 6 months ago, David and I sat down in a room and I said, our selection process gets great people out of the other end and we give a great candidate experience, but if we truly challenged ourselves, are all of those touch points uniquely Grant Thornton in the way that they feel to a candidate. And when we really challenged ourselves, we probably thought that, kind of, but not really. So we really went back to a blank piece of paper and said, okay, if we were designing this again with purpose at the front of our mind, vibrant economy threaded through everything that we do, what would that look like? So we started by really boiling down the application form to what do we really care about the most. So yes, we capture some basic details about our candidates, and our old application form used to ask 3 or 4 fairly generic questions about kind of what do you do outside of work that adds value, how do you connect with our values as an organisation. It was all pretty standard. So what we did with our application form was we boiled it down to what do we care about the most, and if that is purpose, let's get that front and centre in our application form. So we still ask for the basic candidate details, and we ask one question as part of our application form, and that is, we're driven by a purpose of shaping a vibrant economy in the UK and beyond. Tell us about what this means to you and how this connects with you on a personal level. So we're being really intentional right at the start of our candidate journey to let young people know and students know and candidates know that this is the thing that we care about the most. Come to Grant Thornton, a purpose-driven organisation. We work with an organisation called CAP, who I'm sure most of you in the room may have heard of, and we worked with them to redesign our online tests as well this year. We'd worked with them for 3 or 4 years previously. Did a great job, we had some great tests, but again, when we challenged ourselves, did they talk to purpose as much as we wanted them to? So we redesigned our test so that it was a real kind of situational judgment test of how people would act in the moment, dealing with clients, doing the kinds of things that we do with clients aligned to purpose. Along the candidate journey as well, and I should probably stick a box under the bottom, but we've got a candidate community as well. So every candidate who passes screening, and Jamie, 6,000, 7,000 people apply to us each year and pass the screening stage. Everybody is invited to the candidate community where they can share ideas, they can connect with other people who are going through the process, they can connect with current trainees at the organisation, they can connect with our recruiters, and it's almost like a bit of a wiki jobs for Grant Thornton. So we really encourage people to kind of openly share their experiences about each stage of the process. We want it to be open, authentic, we want it to be peer driven. And what we did as a team was we thought about, okay, what touch points do we have with this candidate community throughout the recruitment cycle, and how can we thread vibrant economy through there in terms of the things that we're talking about, the content that we're sharing, and the case studies that we're bringing to life. We've got a digital interview, an assessment that we kind of reworked slightly again this year so that it was more purpose focused. The big changes that we've introduced as well are around our experience day. So this used to be called our final round assessment day. We've kind of slightly rebranded it this year to be an experience day. And this is built up of, or it was built up of a couple of interviews, a case study exercise and a group exercise. The work that we did in the summer was to shift our focus again. Was the case study a bit vanilla? Was it a bit generic? Could this have been kind of at one of our competitors' assessment days? And again, probably yes. So we really thought about, okay, vibrant economy, front of mind when we're redesigning our experience day. We built an appreciative inquiry group exercise built around some of the themes that we're working with our clients on around shaping a vibrant economy, so that our candidates are getting a kind of almost a live interaction with the types of things that we're doing with our clients, the types of conversations that we're having on the ground at the moment around how we can really drive that purpose in the economy. And what we really want that experience day to be is almost a call to action for everybody in the room, whether they're hired or not, to kind of take away this intent to shape a vibrant economy in the work that they do at Grant Thornton if they're successful, or outside of that if they're not. Again, we've got a new joiner community. So for all those who are successfully offered a role with Grant Thornton, they join Grant Thornton I'm Joining, which is our online community. And again, we worked with some of our current trainees, our recruiters, to think about what's our content strategy in that community to really bring our purpose to life. And our orientation, the guys who manage that have done some great work that we piloted in September last year with our intake, but we're going to be doing more this September to think about, okay, those first few months of a trainee's journey at Grant Thornton, how can it be as inspiring and empowering as possible so that they're really, I guess, mobilised around this purpose of shaping a vibrant economy and come in and want to make this positive change that we talk about in the external market. And again, this brings it back to that notion of we don't have this nailed as yet, it's an evolution. We can't just kind of be purpose-driven overnight. And what we want our trainees to do is kind of bottle this energy that they have in the recruitment process and what we're seeing from them and kind of take that into their career. And not everybody will be at the same point on this journey towards being purpose-led and purpose-minded. So we almost want this kind of 450 people that we're bringing in each year to really drive that change. Some of the things that we're noticing halfway through the season, because we're more intentional with how we're talking about ourselves, the quality at our application stage is higher. We've got a different message that we're taking out now, so we're seeing greater success moving through that first application stage. We think that candidates are now actively choosing to prioritise their application to Grant Thornton. They're better prepared for interviews, they're better prepared for the final round experience days, and because we've got kind of this unique, different message, they're actively choosing to think, oh gosh, actually, I may have applied to Grant Thornton because they're the 5th largest accountancy firm and it was maybe my backup when I applied, but gosh, look at all the really exciting and interesting things that they're doing. I really want to get this role now. So what we're seeing is people are kind of refocusing their efforts from maybe some of their other application processes to our application processes, which is ultimately driving greater quality through our process. And what we can see is that it's so far driven about 20k's worth of screening cost savings, and we probably think slightly higher in terms of digital interview assessment costs by the end of the season as well. Quality experience at the experience day has gone up from 55% to 71%. We were really happy with 55%, and we were always trying to improve that, but I'm not sure I really anticipated such a dramatic increase to 71%. We've got some of our regions who have just seen candidate quality like they've never seen before. Some of our harder to fill officers, or traditionally harder to fill officers, are seeing kind of some real superstar candidates who are just really excited about what we're doing at Grant Thornton, who maybe they're not used to seeing in previous cycles. So some of our officers, I think we've had four out of 5 assessment days in one region where we've had 100% conversion rate of candidates. And again, we're kind of blowing the socks off some of our internal stakeholders who've never seen this before. And we think it's because everything is tied back to the purpose. And we're more efficient as a team. We're having to process fewer candidates because the quality is higher to fill the same number of vacancies. And again, with our assessor time, our interviewer time at final round experience day, we're also on track to save just under 1,000 chargeable hours by the end of the recruitment cycle, that our internal stakeholders are able to kind of refocus on things like business development, client work, and ultimately driving greater profits for the firm.
Now for the UK, identifying what are our strengths is important, and also identifying where are the areas of opportunity for real sustainable growth to create a society where no one's left behind. We knew that for us to be sustainable and resilient into the future, we needed to have an economy that was thriving and growing too. And what we realised was that we could either sit back and wait for that to happen, or step forward and be part of actually shaping that. There are a lot of big systemic issues in terms of talent, in terms of transport, in terms of place, in terms of creating environments for growth that aren't going to be addressed by government alone.
What I'd like to do is find out how we can join up as a group of businesses, public sector organisations, voluntary sector organisations. We've got the right ingredients here to figure out how we do something different.
Talking to other organisations that you don't probably realise can be of help to you. We work with 40 schools at the moment, and we have great difficulty in getting in contact with schools, of getting emails to be read.
I'd say one of the strengths of the West Midlands is that we have a very young population. With that, we can definitely capitalise on developing new ideas and new ways of doing things that can help generate effective change for the community.
we still find that in certain areas to find the right people to fill the jobs that we have can be a challenge.
Only 13% of people from the southwest go on to higher education, which is much lower than the national average. Really struck a chord as a local employer who's employed people only from outside of Bristol who come to the university here and then stayed on. So something for me to think about and how we can connect with the local communities.
Particularly on housing, everyone starts to blame each other. And so our groups are coming together thinking of big positive ideas of making change, and I'm finding that very inspirational.
Some of the ideas actually chime a lot with what we're already looking at the Wellcome Genome campus. In terms of, I suppose, how employers might be able to take a lead in placemaking, in solving some of the problems that we have, so taking a lead in the appropriate structure for transport, but in a very long-term thinking way, create a genuine place, a place where people want to live.
The opportunity is bringing people together, focusing those ideas so that we use our collective energies to really create impact at scale. That's where there is a massive opportunity for business and organisations across public, private and third sector. If we want to have resilient, future-fit businesses, we need to step forward and play our part.
Okay, top tips, things that we've learned along the way. I think the key difference that we've done this season is we've identified what makes us different, and we've really owned that better than we ever have done before. We thought about every single touch point that we had with the candidate and how we could thread that difference through all those touch points, so that every single touch point was an opportunity to get people even more excited about the type of work that we were doing as an organisation. Don't be afraid of the Marmite effect. So again, we're not trying to appeal to everyone, and we know that our proposition as an employer now is not going to suit everybody, and that's a good thing. We want people who are really bought into what we're trying to do. We don't want passengers, we want people who are actively driving this purpose-driven mindset within our organisation. And finally, I think the thing that's made us look really good internally is this kind of notion of measuring, reporting and sharing successes. It was kind of 3 or 4 months of really hard graft last summer to get us to a place where we could go live in September with this new approach, and we lent on a lot of our senior stakeholders to kind of give input and thoughts and direction. What we're now able to go back to them is with some stats and headlines around what we're doing even better, the type of candidate quality that we're driving, the cost that we're saving. And what we're really excited to start doing is to start measuring the impact these young people are having when they join the organisation later this year, and how they're contributing to this kind of culture shift that we're trying to create within Grant Thornton. Thank you very much.